One of the most common challenges that you're going to face when working with older populations and older clients is osteoarthritis. It is the most prevalent condition that we see and that we have to deal with among the older population. And so I just want to give you some kind of tips and tricks and guidelines, some recommendations for some things to do when you run across clients with osteoarthritis. You have to get very comfortable with it because you're going to have to deal with this quite a bit. And what you're going to find is that not every individual responds the same way to the same stimulus, depending on the nature of the OA and the severity of it. So osteoarthritis, we call kind of the wear and tear disease. It's where the cartilage is breaking down. Now we know much more about osteoarthritis now. We know it's not just wear and tear. That cartilage is living tissue, and so a lot of times there are issues with the repair of the micro trauma that we're inducing on it on a daily basis. Plus, trauma early on in life creates much more severe problems and prevalent problems later on in life. So osteoarthritis affects the knees quite a bit, kind of the most common area that you're going to have to deal with it, although it can affect other joints of the body as well. But let's kind of focus in on knee osteoarthritis, since that is so very common and limits people so much in what they do. So first thing is the severity of the osteoarthritis. How severe is it? If it's mild, then it might not affect the training program too much, and it might not have too much of an impact on how they live their life and the things that they choose to do. Although it might be aggravating, right? They might have to take some sort of analgesic and pain reliever. They might have to ice their knees a little bit after certain strenuous activities that they might perform. If it's moderate, then that likely is impacting their life somehow. They're probably having to withdraw from activities that they need to do or like to do, or they're modifying activities in order to make themselves be still as highly functional as they can and complete tasks without putting kind of the pressure or the strain on their knees, such as kind of avoiding stair climbing as an example, avoiding stooping and getting down in low positions. If it is severe, now we have basically a bone-on-bone situation. Now that's going to really be debilitating for the individual. It's going to be painful. They're not going to be able to perform the activities that they need to do, that they like to do, or that they want to do for sure. And really the only solution at that point, although we still want them to exercise, is probably going to be a joint replacement. I mean, that's really the only way that we're going to solve that problem. The cartilage isn't going to regrow back. It's not going to repair itself. Exercise does not necessarily repair any of this, but it is a key management strategy that's going to help to hopefully postpone or delay the progression of that condition, and hopefully delay or even prevent them from getting that bone-on-bone situation and having to get a knee replacement. So we're dealing with people in that mild to moderate category. There are just some things that you want to keep in mind. One, weight-bearing status. So if they can do cardiovascular exercise in a non-weight-bearing modality, that's going to be very easy on their knees. Things that are high impact are obviously going to have problems for the knees. So if they're playing basketball or going skiing, as far as activity-wise, that could definitely bother them. But also if they're a jogger or a runner, then we probably want to get them into some sort of non-weight-bearing modality. That could be swimming. Swimming is great for cardiovascular conditioning. Obviously, it's very easy on the joints. There's really no stress that's occurring on the joints, so it is very highly recommended. But swimming pools are not readily available for everyone, and not everyone likes swimming. So we like to use the new step, which is a recumbent stepper. This is a great device to use if you don't have this equipment in your facility. You're really targeting this population. I want to highly recommend that you check out the new step and go to their website, kind of look at the products that they have. We have, I think, 4 new steps in our facility that are used constantly, not only by our trainers, by our clients, but also by the therapist who gets people with knee issues or ankle or hip issues and puts them on it as well. So very versatile because you're in a recumbent or a seated position, so a nice comfortable seat, and now the foot platforms are out in front of you, so you're stepping back and forth this way, and you adjust the resistance and you control the speed. So if I want to really work out somebody hard, I might have to crank up the resistance a little bit and have them go fast at a faster pace, or I could reverse it. In addition, I can control the depth of their movement. So if there's someone that cannot tolerate full range of motion for the knees, I can move their seat back, and now they can only do that terminal extension, that end of the movement. They're taking smaller steps. They're still able to get a good cardio workout in, and they can also use their arms simultaneously. So the new step is a great option. The elliptical can be a really good option. And if you've had people try the elliptical and they're just like, man, this just really bothers my knees, it's very aggravating for it. My trick for that I've had a lot of success with is you need to get an elliptical that has an adjustable ramp. And then what you do, get them on at the normal height, which is usually right in the middle of the incline. And then you just gradually keep decreasing the incline until you get to the point where they feel comfortable again. And so if the normal incline, let's say, is 10, sometimes they have to go down to 3 or 4, which becomes almost like cross-country skiing. But what you're doing is you're eliminating the vertical displacement and you're increasing the horizontal displacement in the elliptical pattern. So this is much easier on the knees. So I've had people that even no cartilage there whatsoever, bone on bone, heavy individuals getting ready to go through bariatric surgery that can get on the elliptical and tolerate that pretty well. Now, not everybody, it's hit or miss, so you have to try that out, but a really good tips, and now that gets them in a nice weight-bearing exercise modality, which obviously has a lot of other benefits as well. If they're doing any sort of kind of boot camp exercises, then that's something where you really want to consider soft surface of some sort, whatever that might be, whether it's a mat, whether it's done in some sort of like cheerleading studio where the floor is giving, but they need to have some sort of cushion. And you probably want to avoid any sort of jumping, high-impact plyometric type exercises. Most people with osteoarthritis just can't tolerate it. And one of the issues becomes that if their cartilage is already damaged, then they are more likely to injure it further by doing those high-impact exercises. So of course, the primary problem with plyometrics is the landing, right? Getting people to land properly. And if they land a little stiff-legged or in a little bit of a wrong position, then that could tear the cartilage even further damage it, and then that could accelerate the progression of the disease, which is obviously something that we want to avoid, okay? So definitely some good tips related to cardiovascular programming. Now, what about strength training? Strength training is very, very good for osteoarthritis. However, how you do it is very critical. Typically, we want to take people through lower intensities, higher volumes, so higher repetitions, lower weights for whatever their capabilities might be. And that way, we're going to continue to strengthen the muscles around the joint, but it's going to have less of a stress on the joint itself by doing those lower weights. In addition, we want to think about taking a holistic approach to the knee. So it's not just about knee extension and leg curl, okay? We want to think about doing the calf raises, leg press, hip abduction, hip adduction, okay? Really trying to get to all aspects of the knee and the hip joint, even doing internal and external rotation. So if you can do that, you're going to start to target all the different aspects of the muscles that are crossing that knee and really tying into joint stability, which can be very, very beneficial for them. In addition, if someone has had osteoarthritis for a while, more than likely they've developed some sort of weakness and compensatory pattern up the chain, right? So typically now their hips are having some issues or discomfort or will, okay, because they are now kind of favoring that one leg, constantly all the time. And so we want to get them kind of back into balance. If you're looking at people from a holistic perspective and you're able to address that, then you can also address things, such as nutrition, sleep patterns, rest, that sort of thing. All those play into osteoarthritis and how people manage their condition. But some very simple things that you want to also think about is making sure they do an extended warm-up before they get ready for whatever exercise they're going to do. Get that blood flowing, get those muscles, get that joint warm. Okay, I like to do it on the new step. I like to do a non-weight-bearing activity as part of their warm-up before they do even weight-bearing activity for strength training in a small group program, a functional circuit, whatever it might be, so that they're ready for that. They have a nice, long, extended warm-up period. And then afterwards, they might need to kind of elevate their leg, ice their knee a little bit in order for it to keep any sort of inflammation down, make it just feel better. So here's some tips and tricks that you can use with your clients in order to help them be successful, because you're going to have to deal with osteoarthritis a lot with this population. And so I'm going to make sure that you start early in getting good and learning how to deal with all the different ramifications that come from it.